When I was younger, I thought life would look like the movies. I thought friendship would come easy. I thought confidence would magically appear if I dressed a certain way. I thought I was behind the pack, but that was far from reality. And honestly, I'm glad it didn't happen the way I hoped. And here's why. Welcome to the Roses and Real Talk podcast, where we smell the roses, then spill the real. This podcast is all about blossoming into our best selves, sharing sweet moments and hard truths, growth and grit. And today we're laying the foundation. Who am I? Why am I here? And what kind of real talk we're about to get into. And it's all with me, your host, Autumn. Oh my gosh, this is like a dream come true. I've always wanted to start a podcast. I've always wanted to be on the radio. I've always wanted to spread a message. And I'm so excited that I get this opportunity to do it on my very own podcast that I've been working on for a few months called Roses and Real Talk. I'm so happy that you're here. I really appreciate you listening. This is my first episode, but we're only going to get better. We're going to grow. But I'm excited to give you an introduction of what Roses and Real Talk is about, what to expect, and why I'm here. I remember multiple times where I used to look at social media and my peers and compare myself so much. I used to compare my milestones to theirs, their internship opportunities. I used to look at what their social life was like, whether they went to parties. And I used to start feeling bad about myself. I was like, well, why don't I have that? Why am I not doing that? And as I've grown, I've kind of come out of that mindset. But in some scenarios and in some situations, I still am stuck in that mindset. And so I really want girls to know that if you feel like you're behind the pack, if you feel like you're not being a true teenager, or just know that it's okay. You're not alone. I've been through it, and other people are going through it at the same time with you. And just know that growing happens at everyone's individual pace. I would also add, I did go to a predominantly white school. As a Black teenager, I would walk into so many rooms where I didn't feel worthy enough or capable. And that was just based on comparison. It was based on things that I was coming up with in my mind. And because I had immediately compared myself when I walked into so many classrooms, I had began to limit myself, my abilities, and point out all my differences in a negative light. Not till really my junior, senior year did I see my uniqueness and differences as a strength rather than a negative part of who I am. I went from being a girl who didn't really want to be seen in her classes all the time unless it was necessary for group projects or presentation, to being a leader in my high school, to leading the social committee, planning dances, getting on the microphone and announcing raffle winners, to being my class's president. If you told me that my freshman sophomore year, I would not believe you. But I've grown through changing my perspective, and it's really got me to where I am today. So that's a little bit about who I am. And as I said, my name is Autumn, and I'm recently graduated high school. So I'm in this stage of the summer where I'm kind of trying to figure out my next steps in college, but also wanted to give back to everyone who once felt like me. So why is this podcast called the Roses and Real Talk podcast? To me, roses symbolize many things: love, beauty, hope, and new beginnings. They're also my favorite flower, and I love receiving roses as a gift or just a kind gesture. I think flowers and roses in general also are something we give to people in all phases of life. Whether somebody's sick, you get them roses. Whether someone just had a big milestone, you give them flowers. Whether, you're professing your love to someone, you give them flowers. And so I think roses and flowers in general really symbolize an evolving, and they bring comfort to people at so many different chapters in their lives. And I wanted roses to be a metaphor and to be a symbol in this podcast because it symbolizes beauty and hope and new beginnings, but also flowers just represent blossoming. As I said, we're here to blossom together and talk about hard moments, but also talk about very beautiful moments. And so I think roses are a nice little token, a nice little symbol that will carry us through our journey. Also, real talk. I mean, I really enjoy having real and honest conversations. Sometimes I'll text my friend and be like, hey, you want to have a conversation? I just love being real and vulnerable, and I feel like that helps me know others, know more about myself, and just indulge in the beauty of raw conversation. So, rapid fire. What can you expect from this podcast? You can expect perspective. You'll be listening to various stories, funny, serious, crazy, chill. You'll be listening to so many stories from so many different perspectives. This is not an advice podcast. It's me just simply sharing my stories in hopes to help you. And you'll hear about topics like confidence, friendship, high school, outgrowing season of your life, and of course, funny stories from me. Okay? And sometimes my friends who will be here occasionally. And as we grow in this podcast, I'm also hoping to have some really cute little segments on this podcast. But one segment that I really want to highlight is our end of the podcast question that I want to leave you every single week. And this week's podcast question, Roses and Real Talk podcast question, is what is one version of yourself you are still becoming? Leave a comment on this podcast and let me know, and I will definitely respond because I definitely want to get to know you all, and I'll even put one in there too as well. I hope you all really enjoyed this podcast episode. I've had a lot of fun recording it. It's my first one, so bear with me, but I hope you really enjoy. I thank you for being here with me on this first episode, and I'm really excited to grow with you all through all the amazing and hard things we're going through. Also, make sure you follow the TikTok account where you'll get some additional little snippets from this episode, from me making this podcast, just some really cute little TikToks. Make sure you go follow it at Roses and Real Talk Podcast. And if you are listening on YouTube, thank you so much for being here. Please subscribe, leave a comment, hit that notification bell so you don't forget when the next episode comes out. As well as if you're on Spotify, thank you so much for being here on Spotify. And I really hope you give this a thumbs up and you come back. It would mean so much to me, and I just hope you'll continue to be part of this community with me. So, that is all that I have for this episode. Until next time, autumn out. Hey, thanks for chatting. Till next time.